very special moments for a lot of the kids in the South Florida area is the Kids Day. First Union Bank, North Broward Hospital District combining to bring in 5,000 sixth graders, plus the ROTC. Now, every one of them get a gift pack and, of course, lunch. They all love that. And they get to see some of the demonstrations close up. And it's an exciting day for them. Exciting as well as being motivational and inspirational. A great opportunity for the sixth graders.
Education starts with our young people here, and it starts with one small step. So together we can make a difference, and today is a very special day for all of us. And again, on behalf of the School Board of Broward County, thank you.
And the School Board of Broward County, along with the City of Fort Lauderdale Parks and Recreation, all combining to make this happen. And look what's flying in now, the A-10 Warthog.
Here's an airplane that was really designed very, very carefully for its mission of close air support. It's got a titanium bathtub that the pilot sits in to protect him from ground fire. Many of the major components of the aircraft are protected by titanium. It really has capabilities that allow it to do that mission very effectively, as a lot of people found out in the Persian Gulf. The airplane is noted for its Gatling gun, a 7-barrel gun firing 30-millimeter shells at the rate of 3,900 per minute. Very awesome firepower, along with bombs and the other ordnance packages that make it such an effective weapon.
You'll want to stay with us as we present the Fit America Motorized Parachute Exhibition and the B-2 Stealth Bomber, all coming up next. Welcome onto the scene, the P-51 Mustang flight demonstration, described as every pilot's dream to fly.
A bit of nostalgia on this 50th anniversary of the Air Force. This airplane's nicknamed Old Boy, and it's one of the finest examples flying here today because of a generous donation to the Humane Society.
Speeds exceeding 350 miles per hour and good maneuverability. The P-51 Mustang, thrilling the crowd in the Shell Air and Sea Show. Flown today by Ray Fowler. He's doing a great job with it, too. It's a beautiful aircraft to watch in flight. Now, when the folks aren't watching up in the air or out at sea, they can attend the display village here at the Shell Air and Sea Show. These are some of the sponsored tents where the sponsors get to entertain some of their clients and guests. And they have a wonderful time as well as good seating for the show. Now, there are a lot of unusual demonstrations, and of course, all of the services represented in our show today are represented in the display village. It's a great area for the military to show more of its equipment and also for some recruiting. Now, also the corporate sponsors, they get an opportunity to display here like Fit America. And we'll cool you down a little bit with some crystal water, and Shell had their Indy car. There's AutoNation, they were a big part of it. And the Scarab boats, we see them on the water, now we see them on land. The Sea-Doo exhibit drew an awful lot of activity from the young folks. And of course, radio stations everywhere, along with good food, not only in the village, but along the walkway leading up to the village. They had just about every type of food you could possibly imagine. And it is good. Lots of food for a huge crowd in Fort Lauderdale. It is the Shell Air and Sea Show, and that means that as well as things in the air, there are things on the sea. And Mark Jackson is the man who's heading up that portion of our program. Mark, again, a tremendous group that you brought in.
Well, for conditions that are less than ideal, we had to bring in the best of the best for the Powerade Water Ski Show, world and national champions, including Punky Forgiano. We also have the Sea-Doo water vehicle demonstration, and they will be pulling water skiers, stunt kites. Bell South Mobility will be doing a hang gliding demonstration, and we also have the ever-popular Fit America paragliders, and then, to end it all up, we will have Wellcraft performing a powerboat race right out here on the Atlantic Ocean.
And behind us, the Sea-Doos are already out there. This is a water vehicle demonstration. A lot of you who are watching don't realize you can actually pull a water skier on one of these Sea-Doos. Good family fun for sure. Now, some of the stunts you see out here, you want to take your time working up to if you're going to try it at home. But they have a lot of fun, and when the water's got a little bit of a chop on it like this, everybody in the family gets a good ride. From the Sea-Doos, we go to the Powerade Water Ski Show. Now this is being performed in the Atlantic Ocean off of Fort Lauderdale, and look at that, they get rid of the skis, they're gonna go barefoot. Backwards, forwards, turn them all around. No skis, Mom. Back with skis, they do the jumps and of course the performances, the Adagio doubles, and the swivel ski. Incidentally, the Powerade Water Ski Show assembles stars from all over the country and some international folks to come in. And boy, they do know their stuff, no question. And of course, the hit of every water ski show, in this case, the six-man or six-person pyramid, completed with the American flag on top. Look at this huge crowd, estimated over 2 days at over 3 million, and they are all looking skyward to the Fit America motorized parachute exhibition. Fit America, of course, one of the leaders in weight loss. Now, what better way to describe that product than with this particular event? These are totally maneuverable, as you can see them pulling down on the sides of the parachute that's above them, but with that motor on their back, they're able to maneuver through the air. Now we go undersea with the human-powered submarine race organized by Florida Atlantic University's Department of Ocean Engineering and the Scripps Institution of Oceanography at the University of California, San Diego. Problem is, you can't see them when they're racing, but I can tell you, with 4 colleges and a high school competing, Sublime took first place. If you see some goosebumps on my arm, there's good reason for it. This next bomber is one that I think very few people have seen.
Talking about the B-2 Stealth, a terrific piece of technology, something that only the free world has and perhaps only the United States can produce.
And Gibby, looking at it coming at us here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, I only think of one word, and that's awesome.
Well, we're very fortunate to have this close-up. This aircraft contains some of our most highly classified systems, capable of carrying a 40,000-pound payload, capable of flying 6,000 miles non-stop, but also air refuelable.
And a very rare sight for the human eye, if you will, because most of the time they like to fly this at night and nobody can see it.
Well, it has to be flown mainly at night, but the features on it that are important are the shape and the low observable paint that it's painted with, and if you'll notice, it doesn't have the conventional exhaust. That flat cross-section in the back reduces the heat signature of the aircraft, giving it even more stealthiness.
It is an absolutely unbelievable aircraft. It doesn't look like it should be flying, but indeed it is. It is truly a wing.
And it's a wing that'll take us well into the 21st century with unmatched technology.
Well, coming up, we're going to have a little look at the Walgreens Jazz Night Captain Morgan concert starring Dave Cobb and the F-18 Hornet. Coming on board at the Shell Air and Sea Show now is Lieutenant Commander Tim Krokowski in the U.S. Navy F-18 Hornet.
The F-18 is an all-weather aircraft, also used as an attack aircraft. And this one happens to be out of VFA-34, the Blue Blasters at Naval Air Station Cecil, Jacksonville. We're watching now as he gives you a little demonstration of the tight turning radius capability of the F-18, an extremely maneuverable aircraft. You can see the vortices coming off the tips of the wings. Again, the compression of the moisture and heat and giving us a little bit of a marker as it makes these turns.
This is another one of those aircraft that people just watch with their mouth open, Gibby. They just can't believe what the aircraft is capable of doing.
Right, it cuts in the afterburners. Right now we're seeing them in the carrier configuration or just pulling out of it as the tail hook comes up in the gear, showing the power of the aircraft.
These guys love flying these planes, don't they?
Just about as much as the crowd loves hearing them come by, and they make that big roar. And I was talking with Tim, and he tells me it gets up to about 570 miles an hour, or about Mach 0.93, just under the speed of sound when he comes by.
This aircraft is also showing us the condensation that we talked about earlier as he puffs right through it.
Yes, and that makes an exciting picture.
One that's being viewed by one of the largest crowds ever to see an air show, and it's happening in Fort Lauderdale.
It's all of South Florida that comes to this event. It's really incredible. And the purpose, of course, is to support the military, to make sure that we get the best recruits serving in our own forces, and I think it's been a good success at that.
It certainly has, but it's also been a success in promoting Fort Lauderdale, and I've noticed a lot of growth as I look out here.
Absolutely. You know, we really are maturing as a city. In the last 10 years, we've made a lot of changes. It's a great family environment. We're proud of it.
And right now, everybody's enjoying the U.S. Air Force B-52 Stratofortress flyover. As they look skyward, if you've wondered how we're getting great shots of these aircraft in the air, take a look at how we're doing it. It's the Miller Eagle, and it has a special gyro cam with a great lens on it, and you're getting great shots like this one, looking down upon the Stratofortress.
Here's an airplane that's been around for 45 of the Air Force's 50 years. And it's certainly a different airplane than when it first came into the inventory. It's been fitted with the latest sensors, capable of carrying a 70,000-pound payload, nuclear, conventional, and be around till well into the next century.
Well, the Air and Sea Show is not only a daytime event, it happens at night too. The Walgreens Jazz Night, Captain Morgan's concert. Maybe you recognize that guy on sax. Dave Koz, you've seen him all around on the Arsenio Hall show when he sat in with the posse. Also is heard on the recordings of many well-known artists like Celine Dion, U2, Curtis Stigers, Bill Perry, Stevie Nicks, Vanessa Williams, and Julio Iglesias. Thousands upon thousands turned out on the beach in Fort Lauderdale for a great night of fun with Dave Koz, courtesy of Walgreens and Captain Morgan's. Now, of course, along with the great jazz music, there was also another surprise for the fans that they were not quite prepared for and got a real thrill from. Out of nowhere, an F-14 Tomcat flying at night comes by to ignite, if you will, the Miller Lite fireworks extravaganza. Watch as this scene happens. Literally lighting up a beautiful Fort Lauderdale night. Tropical temperatures, colorful fireworks, and great jazz. It all is a great happening on the beach. Coming up next, the Clarendon Vintage Biplane and the Coast Guard Rescue. Stay with us. We'll be right back. A little nostalgia at the Shell Air and Sea Show in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, as we look at Bobby Youngkin in his Clarendon Vintage Biplane demonstration.
This airplane takes us back to the great days of barnstorming. Samson, which is a very special airplane, is a recreation of the airplane originally built by Curtis Pitts in the 40s. Doesn't weigh too much, just under 1,800 pounds. Got quite a range of airspeed. Flies as slow as 60 miles an hour, as fast as 200 miles an hour. Got that big, powerful radial engine up in front, making a great sound.
I see these biplanes and I immediately think of the wing walkers who used to thrill the air show audiences all over the country.
I think America has always had a romance with aviation, and this airplane is what started it all right after World War I.
Bobby Youngkin and the Clarendon Vintage Biplane demonstration. Clarendon, of course, a product of Shearing Cloud. Well, if you're regional manager for Shell Oil Company and you're out here on Fort Lauderdale Beach, I would have to think happiness is this crowd and the smiles it has.
It sure is. Shell Oil Company is excited about being the sponsor of this world-class event. And it gives Shell Oil Company an opportunity to give something back to the community. We have about 200 dealers here, and I can tell you they're proud to be affiliated with Shell Oil Company today.
On deck now, the F-15, and boy, this is another exciting one.
This is the Air Force Air Superiority Tactical Fighter, a Mach 2.5 aircraft that still holds 6 of the 8 ground-to-altitude records. It can get up to 65,000 feet from the ground in 2 minutes and 0.94 seconds. That's really moving straight up. It's got an excellent armaments package with a lot of technical capability, allowing the pilot to select guns or missiles with an automatic changeover in the radar scanning system to allow him to pick what's best for the moment. And again, a highly maneuverable aircraft.
That's what's amazing is how they literally throw the aircraft around the sky, and he can make it do just about anything. He doesn't gradually go up, he goes up at a sharp angle. Look at those afterburners. Earlier, the F-18 was flown by Lieutenant Commander Tim Krakowski. What did you think of the crowd?
I was lucky enough to do this show in 1995, the first show, and the biggest show I've ever flown before in my life. I thought nothing could ever top it. So when I climbed the same altitude today that I did in 1995 and looked down, I couldn't believe my eyes. It was twice as big. I would say in excess of 1.5 million people on the beach today.
And that's just on the beach, because now you've got people off of that log boom out there, and that's bigger than I've ever seen it.
4,000 to 5,000 boats. They're a mile deep out there.
Tim, I'll tell you, that's got to be a thrill for you, because you know that your aircraft is very special to this crowd. It's a thrill for them to see it.
It's for the American people. It's their airplane, sir.
Thank you, Tim. And now we look at the U.S. Coast Guard. They're coming in to give an air-sea rescue demonstration. People do not realize how many times every day the Coast Guard is called out to rescue people. I'll tell you, this is one great comfort to boaters all over the United States and in many cases elsewhere.
Coast Guard is one of the best taxpayer agencies that we have. It has 4 missions. They're maritime law enforcement, maritime safety, environmental protection, and national security. We get a lot of value, and especially down here in South Florida where there's such a large boating community.
Highly skilled professionals, to put it mildly, they are trained in the art of air-sea rescue. They get to practice it more than they would like to, however, in real-life situations, but they are out there for the protection of the citizens on the water. And they are a welcome sight to many, believe me.
On an average day, they'll save 14 lives and assist 328 people.
The United States Coast Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, the highlight of our show with the United States Thunderbirds. The 1997 Shell Air and Sea Show has been brought to you by Shell, moving at the speed of light. Ladies and gentlemen, commemorating the 50th anniversary of the United States Air Force, we present the United States Air Force Thunderbirds.
Clearly the world's premier military demonstration team, formed in 1953, having appeared more than 3,300 times before 275 million people in 50 states and 56 countries throughout the world.
When you think United States Air Force, most people think the Thunderbirds. And I think we ought to point out, Gibby, that the maneuvers that they are doing as Thunderbirds are actually, if you will call them basic maneuvers, in other words, they are not doing trick maneuvers in these planes. These are things that all pilots are doing, trained to do.
That's correct. And these airplanes can be converted back immediately to their combat role. And I should point out that the F-16 is our premier fighter in the versatility role. It can do air superiority work, it can do mid-range work, as well as close air support. One of the finest fighters in the world. The team consists of 11 officers, 8 pilots, and 6 flying the demonstrations. Backed up by a hard-working ground team, 130 enlisted folks, men and women, and they're in 30 different Air Force career fields.
It really is amazing to see the ground crew that travels with these planes to keep them flying in perfect condition. A lot of people forget about those ground crews when they watch these planes in the air. I certainly do.
Well, there's very few shows that are ever canceled, and certainly none for maintenance.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, sit back and relax. Keep your eyes skyward as we enjoy the graceful beauty of the United States Air Force Thunderbirds. represented in the highly skilled, trained pilots of the United States Air Force Thunderbirds. Military might, represented in our salute to the military. The true American spirit, the United States Air Force Thunderbirds. Thousands by sea on their boats, millions on land at the beach in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, saluting the military. The Vita Marine water cannons going off as Aerial Sign Company salutes Old Glory with a flyby. Today, we remember those of the military, past and present, and we remember those at home and abroad. And to all of them, a special thank you. Well, it's in the history books for 1997, the Shell Air and Sea Show, and Gibby, I have to say, for a tribute to the United States Air Force on its 50th anniversary, I couldn't think of a better show.
I couldn't either. It was a great show, a safe show, and that's all you can ask for.
And we can ask for more and bigger in 1998. I got a feeling it's going to be just that.
That's what they tell us.
Well, plan to be with us for the 1998 Shell Air and Sea Show. Until then, I'm Dick Crippen, along with retired Brigadier General Gibby Vartan. So long from Fort Lauderdale. This has been an MDM Group Limited presentation in association with ESPN.